Hey everybody, Mickey here with Efficionado Tech. Thanks for watching my first video. Don't mind any of the mess. I'm actually just moving into my new apartment, so let's go. First off, this is not a Pixel 3a review. This is also not a Pixel 3a. My brother's actually using the one I've had before, so I'm using this as a visual. I really want to hit on a dilemma that the Pixel actually is bringing up as somebody who works in a cell phone store. I see a lot of Samsung and iPhone users coming in, that's all they think about. Major blinders on, like they don't even consider that there's even Motorola or any other company besides Samsung or Apple, respectively. And that just really, really bothers me because these have top of the line cameras right now, not top of the line specs necessarily, but that's the dilemma I want to talk about. Anymore, really, the spec sheet is only half the battle. It is not that important. The Pixel gives you an experience all in one. Does it have the highest processor? No. Apple does the same thing. It gives you an experience. It's an Apple experience. Apple as a whole has a thing that they do. But guess what? Apple doesn't conform to the rest of the world when it comes to processors, lenses for the camera specs, that kind of thing. They don't do that either. But it's the best-selling phone in the whole world because they curate iOS, the software running on the phone, to their own hardware. So even though, yeah, they might only have 4 gigs of RAM, which is relatively low especially for a flagship like Apple. I mean, OnePlus has 8 and above. The new Samsung that just released, you can get up to 12 or 16, I believe. I mean, that's a crazy amount of space. That's a lot of running apps, stuff doing in the background, all of that. So Apple doesn't conform to those spec sheets either, but they also don't really release spec sheets the same way that everybody else does. For example, you go into Best Buy and you ask about a Windows computer, they're going to be like, well, how much RAM do you want? How many gigs do you want in your hard drive? What kind of graphics card do you want? And you have to then they'll make a recommendation to you based on your needs. Apple's not really the same way. They figure as long as it works well, not just bare minimum, but it works well, what difference does it make? The minimum models they have, like even the more budget models, has more than enough battery and RAM and storage and all that stuff. You will never even skip a beat, even though it technically has far less than other flagship phones, even in 2019. And the majority of people in the world love it. Samsung, I still can't really tell you what their thing is, but I guess they have a thing for people who love Samsung. Pixel's thing is simplicity, awesome camera, pure experience. The experience you get from a particular smartphone should not be undercut by the specs. So the Pixel 3a, not the Pixel 3a, but the Pixel 3a blew my mind with as far as the price and what I was expecting from it. I went from a Pixel 3 XL, which I'm actually filming on right now, and I was completely blown away by it. But you can't really communicate that to people. Most people still nowadays look at spec sheets like, well, Samsung has a higher processor, or well, Samsung has expandable storage, but Google's obviously clearly worse because they don't, right? Not necessarily. With Google, you house everything in the cloud. So you really don't need expandable storage. That comes a lot from iPhone people and Samsung people because with iPhone, they give you very limited storage. I mean, they give you, 16 or 32 gigabytes at that time? Not enough at all. And iCloud storage at that point, and still kind of, was so disorganized that it didn't help you much to have it besides just backing up your phone. With Samsung, people are just used to having it because Samsung just feature loads and they just dump everything into the phone and then hope it all sticks. So that's all. Just a really quick talk. This is not a review. It's just a acknowledgement of the Pixel's doing something different. When you're going to buy a phone or a computer even, look at the specs. Make sure you're not getting a bad phone, but look at the full experience of the phone first. Don't judge a phone just by the spec sheet. So that's all. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to be doing some more reviews here soon. possibly one on the Bose sunglasses. See you later.